Amy Slaton rushed to hospital. Family's emotional update leaves 1,000-pound sisters fans deeply worried. The world of reality television has a unique way of making viewers feel like they are part of the family. For fans of TLC's hit show 1,000-Pound Sisters, the Slaton family, particularly sisters Amy and Tammy, have become beloved figures. We have watched them laugh, cry, fight, and triumph. We have been there for the highest of highs, like Amy becoming a mother, and the lowest of lows, like the family's various health scares. Recently, the rumor mill has been churning at an alarming rate. Whispers and reports have surfaced suggesting that Amy Slaton was rushed to the hospital under dire circumstances, leading to an emotional family update that has left the show's dedicated fanbase in a state of deep worry and anxiety. While we must always approach unconfirmed rumors with caution, the history of the Slaton family is fraught with medical emergencies and personal crises. To understand the current concern, we must look at the history, the context of the show, and the recent updates from the family. This extensive deep dive will explore the past medical crises that set the precedent, analyze the current rumors surrounding Amy, examine the emotional turmoil within the family dynamic, and discuss what this could mean for the future of the Slaton sisters. To understand the sheer panic that grips the 1,000-Pound Sisters fanbase whenever a health rumor surfaces, one must look back at the terrifying events that have already unfolded on screen. The show, which chronicles the weight loss journeys of Tammy and Amy Slaton, has never shied away from the brutal reality of their health struggles. The sisters' lives have been a constant battle against the scale, with their weight causing a cascade of severe medical issues that have put them in life-threatening situations multiple times. Tammy's perilous journey. While the current rumors center on Amy, it is impossible to ignore the trauma the family and fans experienced with Tammy. There were moments in the show where it seemed genuinely uncertain if Tammy would survive. Viewers watched as Tammy struggled with her breathing, requiring oxygen support. Her weight rendered her almost bedridden at times, and the lack of mobility often led to a state of despair. In one of the most harrowing moments of the series, Tammy faced the very real prospect of life support. The family was forced to confront the fact that if Tammy did not commit to her weight loss, the consequences would be fatal. This wasn't just about losing weight for cosmetic reasons. It was literally about saving her life. The fear was palpable in the voices of her siblings, Chris, Amanda, and Misty, who often had to step in and provide care. The pressure on Tammy was immense. She was in a cycle of overeating, leading to shame, followed by promises to do better, and then more overeating. The show's producers and medical professionals, such as the formidable Dr. Proctor, were often left with the difficult task of delivering harsh truths. When Tammy received devastating news from the doctor, the family's support system was shaken to its core. The weight of the situation was not just physical, but psychological. The thought of losing her sister was a constant shadow hanging over Amy's head, and vice versa. Amy Slaton, despite being the younger sister and having had a somewhat lighter weight than Tammy, has also faced her fair share of terrifying health scares. Her desire to become a mother was a central storyline of the show for years. However, her weight made pregnancy a high-risk endeavor. Amy's journey to motherhood was not a simple one. It was fraught with complications and emergency room visits that had the entire family on edge. The most significant scare occurred during her first pregnancy with her son, Gage. Amy, who suffers from high blood pressure, was rushed to the hospital after experiencing a crisis that doctors feared could trigger early labor. The situation was so dire that it blurred the lines of reality. In a terrifying moment, Tammy received a frantic phone call from Amy, who was hysterical and talking about being on life support. The details of this crisis were showcased in a Season 2 episode, where the Slatons were shocked by the cause of Amy's trip to the emergency room. Amy was only 5 months pregnant at the time, and the risk of losing the baby was extremely high. Tammy, stuck at home due to her own mobility issues, was powerless. She could only wait by the phone, hoping to hear that her sister was okay. This event demonstrated just how fragile Amy's health was. The stress was relentless. During the incident, Tammy expressed fear that Amy's blood pressure had gotten too high, leading to confusion. Amy was talking out of her head, believing Tammy was also in the hospital. It was a chaotic and deeply upsetting sequence that reminded viewers that for the Slaton sisters, life hangs in a very delicate balance. Despite these severe complications, Amy managed to carry Gage to a point where he could be delivered via C-section, though the family still worried when the C-section took much longer than expected. Given this history, it is no surprise that any hint of a new medical emergency involving Amy causes an immediate and intense reaction. The recent headlines and online discussions have been dominated by rumors that Amy has been rushed back to the hospital, potentially facing another life-threatening crisis. While the specific details of the emotional update from the family remain somewhat murky in confirmed news reports, the combination of recent events in Amy's life and the ongoing filming of the show provides plenty of fuel for the fire. One of the major factors contributing to the anxiety is the timeline of recent medical procedures. In early 2026, Amy underwent a significant surgery, but it wasn't for weight loss. Instead, she underwent a double-eye surgery to correct a lazy eye, a condition she has had since birth. This was a huge milestone for her, correcting her strabismus and improving her vision, but it was still surgery. Anesthesia always carries risks, and her husband Brian expressed fear that she might not wake up. While this surgery was a success, it highlights that Amy is still undergoing medical interventions. Furthermore, Amy and her new husband, Brian Levorn, have had a tumultuous year. In September 2024, the couple was arrested on drug possession charges and child endangerment. This happened during a family outing at a safari park where Amy was even bitten by a camel. The stress of legal battles, even when plea deals reduce the charges, adds an incredible amount of strain on a person's physical and mental health. The family dynamic is also currently under immense scrutiny. Season 8 of 1,000 Pounds Sisters showcased a significant shift in the family hierarchy. For years, fans watched as Tammy was often the target of the family's frustration regarding her weight and attitude. However, recent episodes have shown the family's attention turning toward Amy, with many viewers feeling that she has become the emotional punching bag. Fans have voiced their frustration online, noting that the siblings gang up on Amy and that she appears to be fragile and overwhelmed. This increased stress could easily trigger health issues, especially considering her history of high blood pressure and emotional eating. The emotional update that has fans worried likely ties into the very public and often volatile relationships within the Slaton family. As the saying goes, you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. The Slaton family tree is a complex web of half-siblings, complicated parental relationships, and intertwined marriages. The matriarch, Darlene, has been described by the sisters as a cold and detached parent, leaving the kids to be largely raised by their grandmother. This created a dynamic where the siblings had to rely heavily on each other for support, but it also created deep-seated rivalries and resentments. The fact that Amy and Amanda were not just sisters, but also sisters-in-law as Amy married Amanda's husband's brother only added to the complexity. When Amy married her second husband, Brian Levorn, on Halloween 2025, the family's reaction was mixed, to say the least. Many siblings expressed concern that she was rushing into marriage with someone she had just met. While they eventually welcomed Brian into the fold, the initial doubt created tension. Amy admitted in the Season 8 premiere that her support system was shrinking, noting that outside of her fiancé, the only person I talk to is my best friend. This feeling of isolation is a dangerous position for someone already struggling with health and psychological stress. If Amy were to be hospitalized due to a stress-related or weight-related condition, the emotional fallout among the siblings would be immense. We have seen this dynamic play out before. When Tammy was in trouble, the family would rally, but often with a side of judgment and criticism. If the reports are true that Amy is now the one in the hospital, the siblings are likely dealing with a cocktail of guilt, anger, and fear. There is often a feeling of "I told you so" that lingers in the air when a family member is struggling, but it is usually quickly replaced by panic and a desire to help. The notion that fans believe Amy is the fragile one who is getting ganged up on suggests that if she collapsed under the pressure, the family might be facing not just a physical tragedy, but a deep moral and emotional reckoning. Despite the dark clouds of rumor and worry, there are also glimmers of hope that paint a positive picture for Amy Slaton. It is important to recognize that while the internet is panicking about a possible hospitalization, recent social media activity from Amy suggests she is very much alive and active. Just weeks ago, Amy was celebrating her son's Gage and Glenn's pre-K graduation. She posted a heartwarming video on Instagram, showing her boys in matching duck outfits and talking about how proud she is of their growth. This is a woman who is actively engaged in her children's lives. She is marking milestones and creating memories. Additionally, Amy has been documenting her weight loss success. She has reportedly lost over 200 pounds and has been trying new fitness routines, such as bungee fitness. While a bungee fitness attempt left her slammed on my ass due to her excess skin, she is still actively trying. She's also been meeting fans at meet-and-greet events and sharing photos of her skinny new look. This paints a picture of a woman who is in the middle of a transformative period. She has corrected her lazy eye, she is losing weight, and she is building a new life with Brian. However, it's also a life that is very public and under constant scrutiny. If she was hospitalized, it could be due to a minor complication from her ongoing journey rather than a catastrophic failure. It could be dehydration, exhaustion, or a stress-related spike in blood pressure. The family's emotional update could simply be a call for privacy while she recovers from something manageable. However, for a fanbase that has been traumatized by near-death experiences involving Tammy and who saw Amy nearly lose her life during pregnancy, the reaction is justified. The Slaton sisters are not just characters on a screen, they are symbols of resilience. People root for them because they are flawed, real, and fighting against incredible odds. Given the available information and the history of the sisters, there are a few plausible scenarios for why Amy might have been rushed to the hospital. One of the leading possibilities, given her history, is a severe blood pressure episode. Amy has struggled with hypertension for years, and the stress of legal issues, wedding planning, and family conflict could have easily triggered a dangerous spike. High blood pressure during her pregnancy nearly killed her and the baby, so it remains a legitimate threat. Another possibility is a complication related to her weight loss surgery. While the bypass surgery was years ago, patients often face long-term issues like malnutrition, gallbladder problems, or intestinal blockages. The recent focus on her health, including her eye surgery, suggests that she is still battling the physical consequences of years of severe obesity. The excess skin she struggles with can also lead to infections or mobility issues, though this would more likely lead to skin removal surgery rather than a rushed-to-hospital emergency. Furthermore, while she has a new husband, the recent arrest for drug possession shows that the family's problems are not solely weight-related. The use of recreational drugs could lead to adverse reactions or health complications, though Brian and Amy have been trying to move past that chapter. Another layer is the pressure of reality TV. Filming schedules are grueling, and the editing process can warp reality. If Amy was feeling overwhelmed or depressed, a family member might have called for medical intervention. The Slaton family is no stranger to mental health struggles, and the pressure of the show has only amplified their issues. The concern from fans also stems from the lack of clarity. Usually, when something happens to a reality star, their publicist or the network puts out a statement. The fact that there is a family update circulating suggests that the situation is still ongoing or that the family is trying to keep it private. However, the deeper worry indicates that fans feel the family is not being transparent, which only makes the speculation worse. The worry surrounding Amy Slaton is a testament to the connection the audience feels with the 1,000-pound sisters cast. From the terrifying pregnancy crises of the past to the volatile family dynamics and recent legal troubles, Amy has been through the ringer. While fans have seen her celebrating recent milestones and transforming her health, the fear of a relapse or a new crisis is always present. Her body has been through incredible trauma over the years, and despite the recent happy moments with Brian and her children, the risk factors are still high. Whether the rumors are true or just exaggeration in the digital age, one thing remains clear: the Slaton family and the viewers are holding their breath. The emotional update from the family is likely a mixture of fear, love, and the chaos that comes when a beloved family member is in peril. As we await more concrete news, the only hope is that Amy emerges from this scare stronger and ready to continue her journey. The fight for her health is a long road, and her fans are ready to support her every step of the way. In today's digital age, the silence of a public figure can be more telling than any official statement. When rumors first began swirling about Amy Slaton being rushed to the hospital, eagle-eyed fans immediately noticed something unsettling. Amy's social media presence had gone eerily quiet. For a woman who regularly shares updates about her boys, her weight loss journey, and her daily life, this sudden radio silence sent alarm bells ringing throughout the fan community. The timing of this silence is particularly significant. Just weeks before the rumors erupted, Amy was actively posting about her son's Gage and Glenn's pre-K graduation, sharing heartwarming videos and photos that showcased her pride as a mother. She was documenting her bungee fitness attempts, laughing at her own struggles with excess skin, and engaging with fans who have supported her through thick and thin. Then, abruptly, the post stopped. This pattern of social media silence is something the Slaton family has done before during times of crisis. When Tammy was in the ICU fighting for her life, the family went dark on social media, leaving fans to speculate and worry until an official update could be released. The fact that history appears to be repeating itself with Amy has only intensified the concern. What makes this silence even more troubling is the context of the family's recent dynamics. Amy has been open about feeling isolated and unsupported by her siblings, noting that outside of her husband Brian, she only talks to her best friend. If she were in the hospital, who would be updating the public? Would the siblings who have been accused of ganging up on her be the ones to share news? Or would Brian, still relatively new to the family dynamic, be the one to speak on her behalf? The uncertainty is maddening for fans who have invested years in following Amy's journey. They've watched her transform from a woman struggling with morbid obesity who is terrified she'd never become a mother, to a proud mom of 2 beautiful boys, to a wife starting a new chapter with Brian. The thought that this progress could be derailed by a health crisis is devastating. Amy's marriage to Brian Levorn on Halloween 2025 was one of the most talked about events in the Slaton family's recent history. While Amy radiated joy and hope for the future, many of her siblings expressed deep reservations about the speed of the relationship. After all, Amy had only recently finalized her divorce from Michael Halterman, the father of her children, before jumping into a new marriage with Brian. Now, if Amy truly is in the hospital, all eyes would be on Brian. How is he handling the crisis? Is he stepping up as a supportive husband, or is the pressure of the situation exposing cracks in their new union? The family's emotional update likely involves Brian in some capacity, as he is now Amy's next of kin and primary decision-maker in medical emergencies. Brian's position is uniquely challenging. He married into a family that is famously dysfunctional and deeply enmeshed. The Slaton siblings have a history of closing ranks during crises, but they've also been known to push each other away. Brian must navigate this minefield while trying to be the rock that Amy needs. If she's facing a serious medical issue, he's also dealing with the terrifying prospect of becoming a single father to 2 young boys who aren't biologically his. Fans have been watching Brian's integration into the family with a mixture of hope and skepticism. Some see him as a stabilizing force who brings out the best in Amy. Others worry that he's another chapter in Amy's pattern of rushing into relationships to fill a void. A medical crisis would be the ultimate test of his character and commitment. There's also the lingering shadow of the couple's legal troubles. In September 2024, Amy and Brian were arrested on drug possession charges and child endangerment at a safari park, an incident that also involved Amy being bitten by a camel. While the charges were eventually reduced through a plea deal, the arrest raised questions about judgment and decision-making within the relationship. If Amy is hospitalized, could there be lingering health effects from that period of her life? Could stress from the legal proceedings have contributed to her current condition? Brian has largely stayed out of the public eye compared to Amy, but a crisis like this would thrust him into the spotlight. How he handles the pressure could define his relationship with the Slaton family for years to come. If he handles it well, he could finally win over the skeptical siblings and fans. If he falters, the backlash could be brutal. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of the rumors surrounding Amy's hospitalization is the impact on her 2 young sons, Gage and Glenn. These boys have already been through so much in their short lives. They've witnessed their parents' divorce, their mother's weight loss surgery recovery,